Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. So as AT&T starts this big network rip and replace in Nokia markets to the Ericsson equipment, and then also switches on Ericsson Cloud RAN on 5G commercial network, as all that's happening, and I know that's going to cost AT&T billions of dollars to make this switch, and yes, Ericsson will cover some of that, but they have to keep an eye on the competitive nature of the industry. As we've recently saw, for those of you who follow the channel, T-Mobile is making their 2.5 holdings more contiguous. So even though they're not technically buying more spectrum, they're actually getting more spectrum that way. And in the markets where they have the entire spectrum portfolio, they just weren't able to make it contiguous, but they now are. They're going to perform much better. A contiguous channel is just much better. That's why Verizon spent $50 billion plus to get C-band as contiguous as it is. It's just a much better experience. You have two channels. One is 100 contiguous and the other is 40 or 60 depending on where you live. And in some parts, both channels are 100. So AT&T needs to really look at that and not just complain. That's all they've been doing. They've just been complaining, and they really haven't been getting their way. So now they got to look at, hey, if T-Mobile gets more assets from US Cellular, can we do something? Can we get maybe a little bit more AWS or a little bit more PCS? Because from a mid-band perspective, right, AT&T is behind, but they're stuck on the DoD portion because the FCC put I think it was like a 4-year limit on anyone getting more than 40 megahertz. Once that limit expires, then yes, you can have all of the DoD, but that's another 20 months. So in another 20 months, which is technically, let's round up, that's 2 more years, AT&T could buy Dish as DoD. They could buy a Sonic Wave as DoD once that transaction happens between them and T-Mobile. And they could probably get 100 megahertz of DoD. But for now, AT&T's sort of stuck. So they got to try to get some other deals going besides just banking on this Ericsson deal. Can they get more AWS? Can they get more PCS? All that's possible. But they got to be engaged. They got to be engaged in the talks. They got to be engaged with US Cellular, maybe someone else, who knows, but they're not. They're not a part of anything. So, we'll see what happens with AT&T. I see them in my market starting to densify more and more with the C-RAN. They've added some towers. They're not adding towers this year or any other towers this year. They feel that their RSRP now is fine. The weaker spots are taken care of, so now they're filling in the C-RAN, the small cell, to further densify for capacity. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the whole US Cellular and T-Mobile situation, right? And there's really nothing AT&T can do. I mean, they've been complaining it's not working. T-Mobile's going to get their 2.5 contiguous. That's going to happen. They're going to perform better. And then we'll see how AT&T responds. They're right now they're in third place on overall consumers on postpaid only. They're in third place. Soon, they're probably going to be third place on networking, according to Root. So again, they gotta still be competitive. Even though they have the lowest churn, which they do, that's a fact, and they probably will maintain the lowest churn throughout the year, but I still like to see them be a bit more competitive on the network. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Live. See y'all in the next one. Peace.